Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture. He's Phil Chambers from WhatCulture. We're both here in the spooky, scary swamp, and Extreme Rules 2020. Sorry, where are my manners? The horror show at Extreme Rules has just finished, and we're here to tell you what went down. Well, we're supposed to be here to tell you what went down because 3 of the 8 matches, I don't know what happened. I genuinely don't know what the finish was or what it means going forward. But before we get into it all, Phil, what did you make of Extreme Rules?
Pretty spooky, wasn't it? I guess horror-y. It was not great. Should we go match by match and see how it was? It was
You know the phrase that people always use? They always say, like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. I don't think I'm even disappointed. I was expecting it to
I don't know what, like, my expectation weren't high going into this, but I assumed there'd be some, like, good wrestling matches along with some horror rubbish. There was horror rubbish, but there's also, just weird finishes, weird matches. I don't know. We'll get to it.
Yeah, let's go through in chronological order. Let's start on the kickoff show, because there was a really good match on the kickoff show. Kevin Owens and Murphy. It was sort of chucked on last minute. And I don't really want to go into great detail. I mean, Kevin Owens won with a stunner out of nowhere, as you probably would expect. But those two work really well together. They're great wrestlers, and they had a good match. It was just on the kickoff, so you don't need to be bothered to watch it. It's fine. Let's talk about one of the best matches on the card, though, Phil, because I know you want to talk about this. And it was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, the New Day defending against Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. And we sort of said going in, well, on paper, this is going to be potentially one of the best matches on the night. I know it's a tables match, which is always a bit clunky, but 4 guys in this match will all work well together. And I thought it was a spectacular match well, not a spectacular match, but it was a good match with a really memorable finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just the amount of talent in there, it was never going to be bad. And we were saying on the live stream that it's like, has there ever been a truly great tables match? Like, it's just a tables match. But all the guys work really, really well together. And the finish is, like, by far the strongest point of the entire match. It's like Cesaro had, like, Kofi up on the top rope and ended up doing this huge powerbomb through 2 tables on the outside, which was a massive, massive table spot. And we did get the new champions in Cesaro and Shinsuke, and afterwards, like, Cesaro was getting in Michael Cole's face on commentary, like, going on about the, like, you underestimate me for, like, the last time kind of thing. Obviously, Cesaro has a history of being thrown into random tag teams and making them great, and hopefully he's going to do that again here with Shinsuke. And
looking back now, with rose-tinted glasses to 2 hours ago, it was actually going pretty well. Like we said, good match on the pre-show, good opening match. Then you had Bayley versus Nikki Cross with some weird moment backstage with Asuka, Kairi, and Alexa Bliss giving her a big
that was really weird.
You can go and do it. And it was just like, there was a bit of comedy in there with Kairi saying, after all the you're going to go and win, she just said, well, if you lose, we'll still be friends, which I did enjoy, but it just felt a bit weird to chuck in there. But regardless, you can probably guess what happened here. Bayley retained courtesy of Sasha Banks, but it was, once again, I mean, Sasha will love comparisons to this, Eddie Guerrero levels of cheating that got them there.
Yeah.
But it was what we needed in this match. You don't want to undercut Nikki too much by having her lose clean to someone who cheats in almost all of her matches and do the old bloody roll-up spot. It was Bayley looking like she might be in a little bit of trouble. Sasha slipped her one of her, I mean, it's not really a knuckle duster, is it? It's just a series of rings.
A word on a ring.
Basically. Yeah, she gave her boss knucks, basically. Nailed Nikki Cross in the ribs for them, hit her with a finisher. 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains, and we go later on to potentially seeing if Sasha can become 2 belts Banks or whatever she's called. And I don't know if she is or not, but what did you think of Bayley versus Nikki Crossfield?
Yeah, it was a good match. Nothing hugely to, like, write home or anything about the match. It was a good match, good heel work from Bayley. Nikki Cross is crazy, obviously. But the finish was just really well executed. Like, Sasha Banks had sort of control of everything at the finish of it, which I really liked. That, like, she got up, she distracted the ref, she found up Nikki. She got the ring. She passed it to Bayley. She got back up, distracted the ref again. It was all Sasha's doing at the end of it to let Bayley win that match, which I like. So yeah, continuing that storyline, we'll wait and see what we think of the Bayley match.
Next up, well, it wasn't a match. It was just MVP declaring himself United States champion. Cruz lost, according to Wikipedia right now, by forfeit. He apparently wasn't medically cleared, not due to the ongoing global battle. No,
definitely not that. Definitely not that.
He couldn't pass a medical test due to injuries sustained by him being attacked by Bobby Lashley the other week. Yeah. And then he came out, cut a short promo and said, guess I'm United States champion with the belt that I created anyway.
Yeah.
So, fine.
Ended off with it. He had a little video package of Bobby Lashley attacking Apollo to try and make this fit into a storyline somehow. We'll wait and see. See what they do on Raw. Is MVP your champion? I don't know. That's not the first time I'm going to be thinking this on this show.
Do you know what? This is for all we moan about this pay-per-view, and the more we're going to get into it in a second. I haven't looked forward to Raw this much for just working out what the bloody hell's going on. For ages, we've got the United States Championship. Well, we've got who the hell's the Raw Women's Champion. We've got, can the person who lost the eye for an eye match see anymore? Let's get on to it. It was Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, an eye for an eye match. And, you know, as much as it was two men trying to blind each other, I thought it was quite an enjoyable little match with loads of weapons and stuff in there.
Yeah, they did the best with it for what was a ridiculous stipulation from the beginning. Like, we were wondering whether, like, how can they wrestle in this match at all when the idea is just to rip the other person's eyeball out of its socket. But they got a bit in there. There was a bit of back and forth. Seth Rollins had brought some tools down to the ringside with him. Rey Mysterio found a toolbox somewhere. Mysterio broke the kendo stick in half and tried to stab him with the broken shards of a kendo stick. It basically all boiled down to a repeat of what happened on Raw with the Seth Rollins and the steel steps. He got Rey Mysterio down. Oh, there was a bit where Rey Mysterio took off the little patch that he's been wearing on his mask to reveal what his eye was underneath, and he obviously had a little bit of a contact lens in there to say look what you did to my eye, and it was all whited over. But anyway, it came down. Seth Rollins shoved his eye into the corner of the steel steps again, and then all of a sudden you saw Rey Mysterio screaming, and then Seth Rollins kind of looked shocked at what he'd done, and then you saw Rey Mysterio holding his eyeball in his hand, sort of, and then Seth Rollins started throwing up at ringside, and then they helped Rey to the back, and that was the match. It was weird.
We for a split second, because it was all happened so quickly at the end. You know, he had bits where Seth was trying to get forced onto the steps. There was a bit where Seth caught his eye on the edge of a table. Yeah, it was. I described it as like that bit in Hot Tub Time Machine where they're just waiting for that guy who lost an arm to lose an arm, and yeah, it was. We thought for a split second, are they just saying his eye burst? And then we just looked on Twitter, and it was just a ping pong ball painted red a bit, basically. And then they had the temerity, because I'm just going to clarify this, Phil. It says the match can only be won when one competitor extracts an eye of their opponent.
Yeah.
And then later on they went, oh no, well, if the optic nerve isn't severed, he might still be able to see, to be honest. So.
Yeah, they had a whole bit backstage with Kayla Braxton's medical update, and it was, yeah, they had a name for it. They'd obviously researched this as a thing. I guess the eyeball was outside of the skull, so it was fine. But he can just pop it back in, and he'll probably see again. Because we don't need to continue the story, do we?
They put themselves so much into a corner, they had to get a work experience kid to Google, can you still see if your eye falls out, basically.
They were there on WebMD trying to figure this out. How do we get out of this?
And the confusion, or just downright bollocks, continued with the Raw Women's Championship match. Look, you know, Sasha Banks and Asuka together will just produce magic. They are two sensational wrestlers. But no one's going to be talking about the match. No one is going to be talking about the crazy suplexes that Asuka hit Sasha with, or the really entertaining back and forth, like 20-minute encounter they had. They'll be talking about what the hell that ending was. So we all kind of knew there was Kairi Sane ringside. There was Bayley ringside. They were all going to play into it. And it was just going to be a question of, right, well, how does this play out? Does Bayley help Sasha win the title, and then you've got all the belts going into SummerSlam, or does Bayley accidentally cost Sasha? And in the end, when asked that question, which of those finishes would you like to do, WWE answered yes, because Bayley got involved as Sasha looked like she was going to tap out because she was in the bank. No, she did not bank statement. One of them, the Askerlock, thank you. My brain was trying to tell me Sakura Feud Clutch. Not that one. Askerlock. She did, in fact, tap out, but Bayley had already taken the referee, who missed it. Speaking of missed, then Asuka gets slipped some mist, I assume, by Kairi Sane.
Yeah, by
Bayley's trying to run interference. Bayley hits Kairi Sane with a Bayley to belly, and then Bayley tries to mist. No, sorry. Asuka tries to mist Sasha. This is honestly, I'm struggling trying to explain it. Asuka tries to miss Sasha, instead miss the referee.
Yeah.
Bayley gets involved, gets in the ring, twats Asuka with the belt, and then you think, okay, right, well, what's going to happen now? Is she going to like drag the lifeless body of the referee, or the referee who's still trying to wipe stuff out of his eyes over to counter? But no, she just took the shirt off the referee's back, popped it on herself, and then counted the 3 and declared Sasha champion, slightly threatening the guy at ringside. You just went, oh, okay, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, she's champion. And all the commentators were like, see you on Raw, I suppose. What the bloody hell was this, Phil?
Yeah, it wasn't the best finish, let's say. The match itself was great. Like, those two worked really, really well together. Just that, like you say, no one's going to care about the match, because that finish was just so bizarre. I mean, Bayley didn't even do like a fast count or anything. She did a nice slow ref count. Like, if she was lifting up the ref to like shake him awake, and that's what I thought she was doing, like to get him to count the thing, and then she just took his shirt off and put it on.
The only reason she lifted him up was to pull his shirt out from being tucked into his trousers. That was about it. It was ridiculous. So
on Raw, we are going to find out if Rey Mysterio can see, which is probably going to be a yes in the long run. If Sasha Banks is now recognized as the Raw Women's Champion, because, I mean, I don't think that's how matches work in WWE. You just put on a ref shirt and then you're a ref and it's fine. But who knows? People can make their own matches all the time, so maybe they can just make up their own referees. And we're going to see if MVP is actually the US champion.
And more importantly than all that, why WWE won't sanction Randy Orton versus The Big Show, but will sanction a match where a man has to be blinded.
Yeah, anyway, it's pretty dumb.
Next up, it was the WWE Championship match, Drew versus Dolph Ziggler, where Dolph got to pick the stipulation. And I've been poo-pooing this from the beginning, but you know what? I'm going to give WWE a bit of credit. It was quite a clever little stip that Dolph picked. Basically, he picked an Extreme Rules match, but only for him. So if Drew used any weapons, got DQ'd, or walked out, not only would he lose the match, but he would forfeit the championship. He would hand the championship over to Dolph Ziggler. So this was just a match of basically Dolph attempting to use as many weapon spots as possible, Drew just being the superhero that he is, and also having to avoid getting counted out quite a lot. There was a bit where Dolph managed to there was a bit where he twatted him with a chair quite a few times, and then managed to put him through a table on the outside, to which Drew just survived the 10 count. Dolph, there was bits in there, Dolph hit him with a famouser on the outside off the announce tables. He hit him with the zigzag, which inexplicably, as you pointed out, Phil, no one ever kicks out of that. Drew kicked out of it. And then he was setting up for his patented, never-before-seen super kick. He was setting up for that. Drew McIntyre just did a big old kip up and, claymored his head off, which did look spectacular. Drew McIntyre, as you probably would expect, retains the WWE Championship. Do you know what? Considering all the bollocks we just talked about, looking back, this was quite a good match.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no shocker with the finish at all, but the stipulation itself, it made sense for Dolph's character. It made sense in the terms of Extreme Rules. Like, it was logical compared to everything else that happened that was very, very, very dumb. This was the smartest thing on the show. Drew looked strong, some great spots in there, the huge elbow to the outside. Like, Dolph had all his elbows cut up. Dolph had a good showing, looked quite strong. Well, I say looked quite strong for a man who could use chairs and things against a man who couldn't and still lost. But yeah, Drew looks strong, great champion. Like, coming out of this, it made sense. It was good fun.
And from one world champion to another, Phil Chambers, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt in a swamp fight was. I genuinely have seen people saying, well, that was quite good. I saw WWE tweeting, well, that swamp fight and everything. To which I replied, didn't have a fucking finish, did it? What on earth was this? I mean, I knew we were to expect weird, as we say, spooky bollocks.
Yeah.
Because it's a cinematic match and it's a swamp fight and it's old Bray Wyatt, arrive, talk, bollocks, leave. But, I mean, even I couldn't have expected that. We had people you didn't recognise, just, non-existent people, because obviously they can't get Ronan Harper to show up, attacking Braun. You had teleportation.
Bray could control Braun's car lights at the beginning.
Let's not forget, Braun Strowman was initially put down by, checks notes, Braun Strowman. Himself with a spade or something, I think.
And then he appeared in like a shed. And he was chained up, except everyone in the comments was pointing out that he could have just stood up and the chains would have just slipped off. It was quite obvious that they was not holding him down at all. His shed was decorated with like doll arms and like run signs and all, just basically old school Bray Wyatt like nonsense. And then it turned into a promo.
Cut a promo for 10 minutes and said nothing.
Yeah, it was Bray Wyatt promo. You remember the old school Bray Wyatt promos where he just rambles about stuff and he gets away with it because he says it with conviction, I guess. But this was quite a long time of rambling about nonsense.
A lot of people have said, Phil, that Braun Strowman's Universal Championship run has been snake bit. So a snake bit him. That's what happened next. Then he fought some more faceless folks.
We got like a sort of Sister Abigail kind of thing, and that was what brought the snake out, I think. And it was remember the Sister Abigail Bray Wyatt thing when, Bray Wyatt, Sister Abigail, this is the worst booking in the world. It was kind of that veil thing, but you couldn't quite see who it was because that came in later on.
Yeah, well,
because after the snake bit him and he passed out, and then he woke up outside somewhere.
Yeah, and he was fighting two dudes who you didn't see the face of. Then another man who did see the face of, just in time to watch him set himself on fire.
Well, he didn't set himself on fire. Braun kicked him. Your babyface Universal Champion kicked him into the fire.
And then laughed.
And then laughed his head off about it. And then we saw Sister Abigail in the background and was like, you remember me, Braun? Like, you remember who we used to be? Like you want this, you want me. And then she like unveiled herself and it was Alexa Bliss. And then they had flashbacks from the Mixed Match Challenge stuff, because that's long-term storytelling. This is where that was heading. This, tonight. This is the payoff.
And then they were... then he heard them. No, that was the music was earlier. Sorry. Then then he was fighting Bray on a pier. He pushed him into
Bray into a boat, and then like the boat started floating off for some reason, and then the boat started floating back for some reason, but the boat was empty. And then Bray appeared again, and they fought a bit, and he chucked him in the swamp.
He drowned him for a bit, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he drowned him in the swamp, and then the swamp turned red.
No. You just keep missing a bit. He drowned Braun, then left. Then Braun popped back up and was like, I almost drowned. And then they just did the same fight again, I think. And then, then they did then WWE, after all this, right? I realise I'm about to say that it ended in it wasn't, there's no championship on the line and no one ever knew what a bloody swamp fight was. It's just a fight in a swamp, I suppose. But they had the temerity to have Braun, I think, chuck Bray in the swamp. He never resurfaced, and Braun went, it's over. And then they put the, credit thing up in the corner. to like be like, psych. Then Bray reaches back out, grabs Braun. They fight a bit. They fall into the swamp. Then it goes bubbly and red. And the thing comes out, and then the Undertaker's show starts, and that was the end of the show. We were like, oh,
yeah, that was a swamp fight. I assume it's leading to a Firefly Funhouse match at SummerSlam.
It better be.
Yeah, it's got to be. It was. I guess Bray won because he was still laughing at the end.
Let me refresh the Wikipedia page, see if it's anything.
See if it says.
It's changed. It's gone from a no contest to Bray Wyatt defeated Braun Strowman.
There it is.
Not applicable. You're telling me. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I'm not going to say this is the best WWE show of the year.
I genuinely, well, I do know what to make of it. Crap. But I tell you what, we said this when we were wrapping up. Can't wait to see Raw tonight. Cannot wait to see what they do with that.
They've got some splaining to do.
So anyway, as if you need any more encouragement after that, well, horror show, aptly titled. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Oh, I can't wait to hear Michael Sidgwick's thoughts on this. That's gonna be an experience.
Yeah.
I hope he's laying down when he's watching this show, because otherwise things are going to get broken. You can let us know your thoughts on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Let the guys know any questions you've got for the news. Of course, there you can follow both of us. Phil, where can people get you and your lovely dog?
You can follow me and Salty at Phil My Chambers.
Hello. Salty seems very relaxed, by the way, for the spooky, scary swamp that we're in.
I know, right? You should be terrified.
You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. This, well, it was something. It was the horror show at Extreme Rules. This has been what went down at that show. I'm just going to wrap up now, Phil, before I swear. Thanks for
let's move on.
And we will see you soon.
Horror.